Olympic pins are really tradable. So these are all the 88 Olympic pins. There's several different types. We've got all of the 92, all the 96 Atlanta. I have all the 2002 Salt Lake. Each sponsor has their own set of pins. Kodak has their set of pins. They did pictures. They also did a baseball card along with a poster from those particular years. So those in sets are highly tradable. Any of the Looney Tunes were big in '96. Miniature torch were real popular if you couldn't get a real torch. This is Kodak's set of all the different events. They show the soccer and the gymnastics. Haynes was a big sponsor back in the day. Running the Olympic torch, I was in a contest that won all the items that an athlete would actually get. They were each awarded a jacket, the jumpsuits. This is the bicycle Olympic jersey, the posters, the banners we took. That is the watch that they awarded all the Olympic athletes. But Kodak, they have executive pins.
These exclusive? Or?
Yes, those were only given to their executives at their VIP parties. All of these are the different sets. Everything separately, yeah. And most of the stuff, you know, I was able to trade for. Kodak sent me out there with about 200 special shaped canisters. They sent me out there with 200 or 300 rolls of film and 2 or 3 of those disposable cameras. They were big back then. So anything Olympic, they all had the Olympic emblem on it, is negotiable in trade. So I was able to trade for t-shirts. I was able to trade for Swatch watches. Only Swatch watches that went to officials, the Swatch watches that went to the athletes and stuff. So all of those are negotiable in trade. So I had one of the most popular pins, a Kodak pen that looked like a canister, $25. They were worth 25 bucks. So I was able to trade at Hooters, and I was able to trade out of some posters, some of their calendars, some of their cards that they signed, polo shirts. I was able to upgrade because of the pins on airfare. Delta was a big sponsor, so I had a bunch of the Delta pins. So once we flew back, we were able to get an upgrade into first class because of the pins. So there was a number of events. I actually got to trade with Michael Jordan. Nike sponsored him. They had their own line of pins. A collector is kind of like, you know, you want everything. You know, you start off with one, and then you want two, and then you kind of morph into, you're kind of wanting everything and stuff. So if I got started in '96 with pin trading, I'd want to go back to 92, 88, and 84 and get as many of the pins and stuff as I could. One of the other things that was really cool is there's a language barrier, and you've got a lot of the Chinese, you've got Russian athletes there, and pin trading just kind of brought us together. We're looking at each other, and we would, each of us had our own little pin bag full of pins, and you just look at each other and you're pointing, you're going, I'll take that, you'll take that. And the communication barrier, everybody is the same way. So yeah, we were able to negotiate and talk. Again, I must have spent 5 or 6 boxes back. We were trading wine from different sponsors and stuff that they had. We shipped back shirts, the jackets. We have these, I was able to trade for that jacket. This is actually from 2002, and that is a ski jacket, obviously. We were able to trade. Something you rarely see is Kodak Olympic film canisters. There was only a few of those. Coke is a big sponsor, Olympic bottles. There's different years. Coca Cola had done a number of different items.
Is the liquid still in there?
Yes. They're a little more collectible when they're full than they are when they're empty. So, and I used to trade quite a bit back and forth, but the problem is they're so heavy and a lot of them get busted. Oh, I'll tell you what else is pretty popular was I collected each day. They have a Sports Illustrated and Carl Lewis, each one of them. So I was able to collect a couple of sets of these. I noticed when I went through the other day, we were there during the Olympic bombing, and they've since made a movie out of it. But I have 2 or 3 of the Sports Illustrated that shows all the pictures of the aftermath of the bombing. So those in itself were highly collectible, along with the Wheaties boxes. You can see Michael Johnson. Kodak was real big. At that time, Kodak had just bought out dynamic imaging, and that is actually,
Whoa.
they take 4 seconds of video and they put it on a card. So that shows the bicyclists. There's 3 different sports images and stuff on each of those. For some reason, everybody wanted Russian Olympic pins, and they're very cheap. It's not a very good material and stuff, but because of the Russians' dominance for so many years, they were real popular to try to collect. So again, Kodak was real good. Not too many people have these. These are the Kodak, and again, there's 3 different images on those. This one is, it's going to see her high jumping. Mm-hmm. There's 3 or 4 different, these were, that's the skier. It'd take months to catalog all this, wouldn't it?
Right, yeah.
You know, it's just basically insane. This particular torch I ran in Brush, Colorado, ran out on Mother's Day. This one was taken from Colorado Springs on a motorcycle, and then when they got to the Brush, Colorado, and to the Olympic venue, a bicyclist took it, and then the bicyclist handed it off to me, and then I got to run the torch into the lunchtime event. There was 2 Olympic athletes out of Brush, Colorado. They were both shooters, and so that's the reason it was there. I got to run it in, and we lit the cauldron. We were on stage for about 30 minutes, and they were talking about how much they had done from Denver to Colorado Springs and across. This is actually the map that the torch ran, and you can see it doesn't go through New Mexico, and therefore that was the reason I got to give Governor Gary Johnson and the state of New Mexico an Olympic torch on their behalf. This particular torch is the one that I ran. I was able to trade for Italy's Olympic torch. This is the Canadian torch. This is from one of the earlier Paralympic Games, along with that particular torch. So there's 6 total torches. This is actually a bid baton from Chicago. It is one of the batons that they use in relay races, but every few years the cities around the world bid for the next Olympic Games. And so Chicago put in a bid, and they made 50 of these to give to the dignitaries and to show up. They have a little 30-minute presentation about how great their city is, but this bid baton went to those guys, and Chicago obviously didn't get the Olympic Games for that year. So these we were able to trade. Yeah, so if there's 1,000 runners, each one, they have the option of buying their torch. When I showed up, it was too late, so they handed me this particular torch, and what they do, if you push the bottom and twist it, then the propane comes on, and then that is lit by the previous runner. So you touch torches, and then after you finish your 15-minute run, the police officer comes in and turns it off and snuffs out the flame. And so it continues, it never goes out, it's lit from torch runner to torch runner. So originally these torches were $250. You could purchase them for $250, and they are on eBay right now for $5,000. Certain ones are more available than others. So obviously some of them are in the $3,000 to $4,000 range. The '84 Olympics, which is unusual also. I have the papers from '84 Olympics, and you know who carried the Olympic torch in '84? O.J. Simpson. And so this newspaper was popular at one time, and then not so much. So there's articles in there about him carrying the Olympic torch and stuff. Those torches from '84 are going to run, 15 to 20,000. At that point, from like 76 to 80 to 84, there maybe was just a few torch runners, and all of those were Olympic athletes or media. Some actors ran it. Movie actors and stuff, and at that point they try to get enough attention for the Olympics So they always had the popular people, somebody they had a big following and stuff. And then in '96, Coca Cola came in and they had an Olympic hero program that they chose 4 people from each state to run, normal people, through a community hero program to run the Olympic torch. And I was one of the 4 out in New Mexico that was chosen that particular year. So there's a few more of the '96 Olympic torches because each one of us actually was able to keep their torch. And some people turned them in. They weren't interested. I don't have any idea why, but for the rest of us, it kicked off a collector frenzy for anything Olympic. Not for sure. There is one particular bottle that is rarer than all the rest, and the only way you could get that Olympic bottle is by running the Olympic torch. So they were only handed to, after you ran the particular torch, then they handed you their Coca Cola bottle. That's a good question. '96, I collected all of the '96 Olympic cards, and Corey Snyder was big at the time. I named my son after that one. So I was able to collect his card. I believe Andy Bean and a few others are actually on this particular team. But again, there's so many memories, so many different, it would be really nice to be able to, I don't know, what's your opinion? You think people would actually come to a museum to see Olympic memorabilia in Carlsbad, New Mexico, of all places? Yeah. I probably do, but it's a Nike pin and it's going to be stuck somewhere. I was trying to think what he wanted that I had. He has an entourage, and 2 or 3 people come up to you to approach you at first and then negotiate, and then that's when Michael, comes out and you get to do the trading stuff. So I was a farmer's insurance agent for 40 years, and 2003, Harley Davidson was their 100th anniversary. And there was a contest I was involved in, and being my size, I was never much of a motorcycle, could barely hold them up and stuff. But there was 4 Harley Davidsons given away in the company, and I won one of the 4. And this particular model is an 883 Hugger, and it's 6 inches lower to the ground. So it was perfect for me. So that was about the same time, right after I got through running the Olympic torch, and I was doing a lot of marketing for the company. So I took all of my Olympic pins, the programs, I took the torches, and then I had this bike repainted with the Olympic theme. So it's got the Atlanta torch on it, it's got the 100th anniversary emblem, and then on the other side I actually have Salt Lake City has their Olympic emblem and stuff.